everybody, KC0VI Tom here. This video is just really late. It's not out of sequence. Normally my videos come up Friday morning about 6 o'clock, but this week we had something come up. Some people needed some help, so I had to drop everything and go help them. Last spring, end of April or May, if I remember correctly, we lost an amateur radio operator, James, KE0NNO. I met James first in 2008 roughly. He was a student out at NIAC where I was working and I was teaching at the time. He became an amateur radio operator and we worked on a couple projects together, storm spotting, parade routes, stuff like that. You know, talked to him off and on in the radio. Last week, I believe it was Wednesday, his parents contacted me. They're in the process of cleaning up all his belongings, going through, getting all his affairs in order, and he had a few radios, and they were just wondering what they could do with it, and wanted to know if I could help them identify them, come up with some pricing and who to talk to sell them or do something with them. So dropped everything I was doing that day and went over to Mason City, met his parents, and we went through everything, and I was kind of talking to him a little bit about, said, okay, I was going to take some pictures and find some pricing on this, and didn't give him a hand on how to put them up on like eBay or eHam or Marketplace or some of the other online places. And they both didn't want to do that. They're busy with their own stuff. I went through this back in 22 when my wife, KD0TLJ Joyce, became a silent key. Your world is messed up. Then you got to keep your own stuff going, plus you got to take care of this other person's affair. You're missing them. Anything you come across that brings back bad memories, or not bad memories, memories is a bad deal. And so we're talking there, and I said, well, okay, I'll take everything back to the house tonight and I'll go through it. And they were happy with that. We loaded it up in the car. He didn't have much, a couple mobiles, handheld and an HF rig, some antennas, and some odds and ends stuff. And got home here, I went through, cleaned everything up, ran it across the bench. Besides some of the weird programming channels, everybody has their way they program their radio for whatever reason. They worked fine. Went online and hit all the normal used places, came out pricing. Thursday, the next morning, I sent him his dad a text with the pricing and the total price, and he called me and says, I can't believe that sounds great. Yeah, whatever. How do you want to do this? And I said, well, I'll pay you right now for the total price of what we got there on the text, and I'll take care of, there's the HF rig, the 891. I was going to buy that for my daughter, KC1 TGU, Christy, out in Maine. She became a general this July, took her test and passed it. And that, and there's a couple of small items I was going to purchase myself. And he thought that was fair, that I'd take care of selling off all the other stuff. And that way, he was paid for, he was taken care of. And then I would just have to look over my own self. And then he goes, oh yeah, there was a mobile in his car. So he sent me a picture of that, and it was a Kenwood TMV71, if I remember right. So, okay. Friday went there, paid him. We got the mobile out of the car, brought it home here, cleaned it up, ran it across the bench. Works fine, okay? So that way, I'm at the house on Friday, we're taking it out. He kind of asked me, why are you doing this? I said, well, when Joyce passed away, it wasn't even a week later, James out of the blue just called me up on how things are going, if I need anything, just checking on me. And just my way of giving back to him. So that kind of put everything to bash, brought back some bad memories, so I had to go back to my own little health care and try to get caught up in the world. What I wanted to talk about, as the title is Starlink. For 3 years ago, the local ISP provider phone company is getting worse and worse. The rate was going up. 15 years ago, when we got on Omnitel when they first came to Mason City, or excuse me, St. Ansgar. Mason City is over there. We were paying like $99 for high-speed internet through them, and every year it just kept going up higher and higher. And I finally had enough and dropped them. And we switched over about 3 years ago, shortly after Joyce passed away, to T-Mobile. And at the time, I really didn't want to go with T-Mobile. I wanted to go with Starlink, but at the time, you had to fork out $600 for the hardware, and I couldn't find anybody in the area that had Starlink. I mean,
you had service here in St. Ansgar, but 9 miles, 10 miles down the road to the northwest at the Iowa-Minnesota border, it stopped. And it didn't start back up till you're in the metro area, up in Minneapolis area. So I went to T-Mobile on that 5G home internet, which is, for the price, $50 a month, and the speed, it's fantastic. Plus, I got a 5G tower less than a half mile away from me. So I was getting very good service, but there's always a but. You can't do FTP, and I still have some websites I maintain that I needed FTP, so I do all the work. Then I go to the coffee shop with my laptop and take care of that, the FTP up. And the other thing you can't do is get in and change router settings. My kids bought me a Nintendo Switch, and I can't use it on T-Mobile because you cannot go in there and do any types of port forwarding or open up ports, stuff like that. It's locked down. You can't do it. You contact T-Mobile, and the local tech couldn't figure it out, so we put it to an engineer, and pretty much the engineer says, try this and this, and it'll do it. Because it didn't work, and I went back to them and they go, yeah, it doesn't work. And if you do a search on Nintendo Switch on 5G T-Mobile, yeah, it says right there it's not going to work. The way they handle the cell phone data to Wi-Fi data, you cannot do it. So and now looking at Starlink, they got a fairly decent deal this month. You got $120 for residential or $80 for light, just a slower speed, still all unlimited. The light, you may get throttled a little bit at peak time, but I could not find out when peak time was, which was really strange. And I believe it was 150 or 170 for the hardware kit, which is a lot better than 600. Then what day was it? Monday, I think it was, when I was looking at it again, debating what to do. They came out with a special. You sign up for 12 months and your monthly rate drops down to $65, and the installation kit's half price. So that knocked that 150 down to 75 roughly. So signed up for it. It came in. It's been sitting here at the house. I'm just going nuts. It's just, it's kind of like kid at Christmas, but you can't quite do it. So here we got our Starlink, and we'll break the seal on it. We'll see how this goes. See if we can get it to do anything. I will probably come out in a couple weeks with a better, more into the setup and getting it up and running. And I have a fairly large hardwired network in my house. You got to remember, this used to be a business, and so I got a couple different switches, some Wi-Fi, and wow, they wanted to make sure it got shipped good. I'll probably shut down the T-Mobile here after a while. I'll get this up and going, then we'll close that off. And they got this, either I must be opening the wrong, probably got the box open wrong. So see if we can do it this way. Yep, open the box wrong. I don't know if you can hear Duke. He's upset. You're doing something without me, Dad. There we go. So what we got here is a Gen 3 dish, and got the instruction. Again, you got to remember with instructions, these are just another man's idea. You don't really have to follow them, but it's helpful. Long Ethernet cable, the actual router, power supply, power cord. So on that, I got a new toy for this week. The weather's supposed to be a lot better. And I'll come out, like I said, it'll be a couple weeks before we get that video released. This last Saturday, I was able to go to the River Rats car show. That'll be the upcoming next video. It was okay. Weather kind of played a part into it, but then after that, fall is here in North Iowa. A lot of the apple orchards are opening up, so we'll be hitting a couple of those. Otter Creek would be next on the deal. And just want to let everybody know what's going on, and just want to kind of explain to people out there, because I mean, it kind of ruffled a few people's feathers that this couple reached out to me and not somebody in the local club in Mason City. I am a club member, so I don't know what the problem was. And I mean, there's been rumbling that I lowballed the pricing on all the equipment. No, I did not. I looked at everything on the used market, and Chrysler had some really sky-high sales and some real low ones. I just kind of, did the Olympic score and threw out the high, threw out the low, and kind of did a quick average on it. And they were happy with what they got. It was more than what they were expecting, and so that chapter of their life is closed, and they got another one opening up here. And going with life without a loved one is not easy. And I wish them the best of luck, and told them that if you got any, come across anything, it doesn't matter if it's amateur radio or not, just take a picture of it, send it to me, and I'll gladly help them identify it. If I can't identify it, you remember, I still got all my contacts back at NIAC. We got tool and die, automotive, building trades, so we could easily, if I can't figure it out, I can know who to send it to figure out what's going on. So on that, rest in peace, James. You're a heck of a nice guy. Take care, everybody else. 7-3.